Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a centuries-old tradition, revered leadership, suddenly caught right in the middle of controversy, legal fights, even, physical clashes. That's the really complex picture we're diving into today. It's the ongoing Kano Emirate crisis in Nigeria. And the sources we have, these recent news reports from July 2025, they give us a pretty vivid window into the latest developments. Things are escalating.
Yeah, what's really fascinating here is how, even when you look at what seem like straightforward events, you get these multiple perspectives, these conflicting stories popping up. So our mission today really is to try and distill the core facts for you, help you understand who the key players are, and maybe grasp the broader implications of what's a really significant cultural and political conflict. We'll be focusing naturally on the two main figures here, Aminu Ado-Bayero and Muhammadu Sanusi II. And just quickly, for anyone maybe less familiar, an emirate in northern Nigeria, it's basically a traditional Islamic state. The emir is the spiritual, the administrative head, role with immense cultural and historical weight.
Absolutely. And to really get a handle on the current volatility, we kind of have to rewind a bit. Back to May 2024. That's when the governor, Abba Yusuf, made this incredibly decisive and, highly controversial move. He didn't just dethrone Aminu Ado-Bayero and 4 other prominent emirs, these first-class emirs, but crucially, he reinstated Muhammadu Sanusi II as the sole Emir of Kano.
So the immediate question is, what happened right after that? Well, ever since May 2024, both Mr. Ado-Bayero and Mr. Sanusi have been essentially holding court, but in 2 different palaces, which has created this, pretty unprecedented situation. You got a kind of dual authority. Mr. Ado-Bayero, he's at the Nasarawa Palace, and he's actively challenging his removal in court. Meanwhile, Mr. Sanusi is occupying the main Kano Palace, the Gidan Rumfa.
Okay, fast forward to just this past Monday, July 7th, 2025. This is where things really escalate again, didn't they? Loyalists of the deposed emir, Aminu Ado-Bayero, were suddenly ordered out. They had to vacate the main palace. And we're talking about families who'd lived there for decades, told to leave, the reason given being alleged disloyalty to the reinstated emir, Lamido Sanusi. And this wasn't just, minor figures. It hit key people across the emirate structure. Senior advisors, traditional title holders' roles, they're really foundational right down to, even essential palace staff like drivers.
Yeah, the sources paint a picture of, chaos, really. Insiders were reporting that thugs actually tore the roofs off some houses to force the eviction, which, understandably led to resistance from the families involved. This kind of brutal enforcement, it signals a really profound shift in power. Ruthless, you might say. It's not just about kicking families out. It's a stark demonstration of force. It seems designed to break these centuries-old loyalties. And it puts officials, district heads, council members, other traditional title holders in an absolutely impossible position, doesn't it? They're forced to choose the deposed emir they served or the newly reinstated one who has the backing of political power right now.
And then, almost right on top of that, maybe the same day, maybe the next, another major event, a direct clash. Supporters of the 2 emirs clashing right at the Kofar Kudu palace. Apparently, this happened as Emir Bayero was returning from his Mandawari residence.
Right, and this is where the narrative battle just goes into overdrive. You have really conflicting accounts. The Kano Emirate media team, they represent Emir Sanusi. They allege Bayero's supporters just unleashed mayhem. That's the phrase they used. At the palace, while Sanusi wasn't there, they claimed the palace gate was broken, guards were attacked, injured, even police vehicles apparently vandalized. And they go further, suggesting Bayero deliberately chose that route, past the Emir's Palace Road, Gidan Rumfa, specifically to, intimidate Sanusi's people and the public.
Yeah, and the Sanusi camp, they're pushing hard on this idea of institutional legitimacy. They're saying the deposed emir, Bayero, just doesn't have the backing of most stakeholders in the emirate. They claim, 37 out of 38 district heads have pledged allegiance to Sanusi. And only one of Bayero's own 6 brothers hasn't recognized Sanusi's reinstatement. They even point to the recent turbaning.
Ah, yes, the turbaning.
On the nephew of former Governor Ganduje, Sanusi turbaned him as a village head. They see that as proof that Sanusi's legitimacy is growing within the institution itself. And for listeners, turbaning isn't just symbolic. It's a formal, traditional installation ceremony. It basically seals someone's allegiance and authority within that emirate structure. So yeah, it's a powerful signal.
But then you flip the coin. A member of Bayero's entourage, Buktar Dahiru, he completely dismisses those claims, flat out. He insists the clash was provoked by unknown hoodlums or miscreants carrying dangerous weapons who were trying to block the emir's passage. He says Bayero's people were forced to clear the way. self-defense, essentially. And another Bayero supporter, Emir Ado-Bayero, backs this up, says they were moving peacefully, no weapons, but had to defend themselves when they were attacked. So what these conflicting stories really show, it's not just about one incident, is it? It's a deeper fight for public perception, for legitimacy. Both sides are spinning a narrative, trying to win over not just the courts, but the hearts and minds of people in Kano.
It's a classic he said situation right now, isn't it? The police, the Kano State Police Public Relations Officer, they confirmed an incident happened, but they're saying investigations are ongoing. They're trying to compile information from these, quote, different narratives before they say anything conclusive. Okay, so we talked about the high-level politics, the palace clashes, but what about the actual human cost? How are the ordinary people of Kanos feeling this, the ones caught in the middle?
Yeah, it's stepping back from the palaces. The people on the ground, they're just expressing deep frustration. That comes through loud and clear. One source quotes a trader calling the whole confrontation sad and unnecessary, saying the Emirate, which should be about peace and unity, is being dragged into political chaos, and it's ordinary people suffering from the confusion and insecurity. A school teacher apparently echoed that, saying it undermines the sanctity of the whole Emirate institution, sets a dangerous precedent. And a university student really put it sharply, urging the government, the traditional institutions, to prioritize the well-being of the people over these personal or political fights, highlighting that Kano is known for its rich history, not for royal clashes. That sense of unease, that constant uncertainty, and this feeling that something really important, something revered, is being eroded, that really stands out.
And understandably so. It sounds incredibly destabilizing. But amidst all this tension, this public outcry, it is crucial to remember, as you said earlier, Mr. Ado-Bayero is challenging his removal legally in court.
Exactly. That legal track is still running. So the broader appeal from many observers, civil society groups, elder statesmen, it's really a call for restraint. They're urging both sides, both factions, just to remain calm. Let the judicial process play out. Wait for the court's decision. It's fundamentally a plea for stability, isn't it?
Definitely. So what we've really seen in this deep dive today is this microcosm almost of power, tradition, and law just colliding. And it's playing out in the very palaces where centuries of history live, from those really stark evictions of people who'd lived there forever to the street clashes between rival supporters. The Kano Emirate crisis is just such a vivid example, isn't it, of how deeply these traditional institutions can still impact modern society, creating loyalty, yes, but also deep, deep division.
And what's truly fascinating, I think, is how events like this really challenge our ideas about authority and loyalty, especially in a world changing so fast. Which kind of leaves us, and you, the listener, with a pretty big question to mull over, doesn't it? In this era of, instant information, contested narratives all over the place, how do societies navigate that really delicate balance? The balance between historical traditions on one hand and contemporary governance on the other, especially when those very traditions become these intense flashpoints for conflict. How do you manage that?